Alistar is still an option available.
I think you can just go for the Rel and the Jace here if you want to. Play that tank Jace into the top side. Just look to play for turret plates because you're not going to end up with a huge amount of the pressure on the opposite end. But I think, yeah, the only thing that you'd be worried about with the Rel is Alistar is open, but I think Rel is just too strong at the minute. And we've seen how even the Alistar in a good place makes it really tough. This also was a great... I wasn't sure if they're going to go for it. I thought they might put in the support role because there's a lot of dashes that you want to try and go for, and SK do need some sort of engage. So again, I think G2 have absolutely smurfed this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to agree with you as well. Loopy needs engage. There needs to be something that solidifies this comp together. Dagda too. SK as well. The difference is that G2, as I've been told by our stats team, have never started a split like this, have never been 0-2 at the start of a split. If they go down 0-3, you will hear the words out of my mouth that are, G2 are the worst team of the LEC winter so far. I will say it, Dagda.
I will disagree with you.
They are the worst team on paper.
We'll get the big red arrow for the thumbnail and then a little speaky box that says it for you, but I just don't agree with that at all.
And look, Dagda, there's something I've always wanted to use that I will be allowed.
Is it really the time when they're invading?
It will be, because it will be on fire, Dagda. But nothing happens because of it. Lebrob just dismounts. But I will be allowed to use that, won't I?
Yeah, at some stage.
I love that. You said yes. You are my leader. If
we'll talk to producers.
If Dagda says I can do something, I can do anything. He says tings. I like
tings,
that.
what?
Yeah, that. You, instead of things, you say tings. It's very cool. It's hard to ever be, upset with an Irishman,
Because of the funny words we say?
No, you're not always funny words. You guys are just so happy.
Depends on which one you get, to be honest. A few grumpy lads there, I'm not going to lie, but SK going to make Skimon a little bit grumpy as Isma immediately goes for the invade onto this bottom side. I think it's a good shout. Try and split the map and again separate Skimon from this bottom half of the map. Loopy now going to put pressure on the cops early. Summer Spell would be sick, but
Caps just accepts it. Center play doesn't care. Aftershock doesn't connect, but Gatling Gun does.
This is also a really weird opening from SK. They've set up Rahel on the mid-wave. They've sent Reeker to the side lane to just end up operating in towards the Poppy to avoid Genax on the play. And now you've actually just got the Sansama lane into the Cassante. So not exactly the setup we were expecting for, but again, it does mean you end up with your lack of priority. But with already sealing away at least some of the camps, Isma can try and push Skewman off this bot side of the map.
I wonder if it gives you any opportunity here, Dagda, to set up on caps, maybe a dive, or at least using that poke and range that comes with Phosphorus Bomb, Leona engage, and then the Nidalee. Maybe an advantage if SK can find something.
I just think you've made your life more difficult, to be honest.
Really?
Like, Reeker doesn't have a good time against the Poppy because immediately you get the push and steadfast presence, so you actually can't trade effectively with your Q, right?
True.
Or your Q3, I should say. And then you've also now got your top laner who's in a 2v1 lane. And sure, Caps is in a 1v2, but he's got range and a very short lane, so you can't punish in the 1v2 as effectively as you would in the longer lane that you get on the bottom side. So you're going to already look, you're starting to see like Poppy open up with a nice gold lead. The Victor is still perfectly fine. And now you're just going to start to look at plates falling for G2. So I think this is a bizarre call, honestly, from SK.
Hans, as you said, I mean, the passive still gets to get stacked. And options here for Skewmond, you might find out soon as Loopy looks for the invade and getting information is
late
good.
On it, though. So, like, if this is what the setup was, cool. But you needed Isma to kind of forego Raptors and immediately go for that invade so you can try and catch Skewmon. But you'd already forced them out onto that top side. So chances are a lot of his top side camps had already been taken. So you're not really able to make a play there. It's exactly what I was talking about.
The interaction with Grasp of the Undying, Rika just gets slapped a little bit and Broken Blade continues. I know you see gold there, ladies and gentlemen. He's not in that standard lane, but he is keeping up with CS here, and Broken Blade's just going to keep getting tankier.
Yeah, so this wave now pushing into Broken Blade. He's fine and just play it back. Even if Loopy goes for the engage, that fast presence you can see in the bottom left already back up, so he's not really under any pressure. So I'm not sure what the call is now. The only valuable thing that I can really see coming from this is Porky as a champion scales very well with levels because like his rockets go up a lot more and he can get a ton of damage, or a lot more damage from that, and gets value from that instance. So I think that's really where you can actually see Rahel starting to maybe come alive in these team fights, but this is still a weird opening.
But I mean, Rahel just takes a big chunk of damage. He was sharing experience as he is now once again as Isma tries for this invade, but Labrov flash Q, Isma flashes in return. The Nidalee, of course, having pounced, but I mean, Isma's just forced back again. That's the second time they've tried to invade and the second fail for SK in the early game.
Yeah, it feels like they're scrambling a little bit to try and make this Nidalee pick work, but because G2 were able to respond well in draft, it's just not really in a position now to take over. So you're matching on CS. You've got your lanes a little bit mixed match now. Labrov will have to reset here, but I think if you're G2, you're still in a perfectly fine position. Now they're actually going to move the Draven up towards this top side as Void Group starts to come through. SK will be in a position to match pretty convincingly because Rahel is consistently having push in the mid against Caps thanks to the 1v2, but I don't know if they're really strong enough to fight. Cap's going to reset now and TP back into mid. He should be in a good spot to just come over.
I know who is strong. That's a BF Sword Draven.
Yeah.
Straight away. And note again, it goes further to the point that you've been hammering on about. I know people at home will be like, oh, but Dagda, maybe for Cassandra it's going to be okay. The Draven got 2 turret plates 3 minutes into the game,
yeah.
4 minutes into the game. So Han Summer, look at his stacks, 154. That BF Sword early with Draven Q.
Yeah, and here's what it's actually resulting in is level 6 versus nothing on the opposite side. And then, as you were saying, you're starting to open up this gold lead here, this gold lead here. So this hasn't worked out at all for SK. Like, the advantages in the solo laners are there, so they can't contest in the Void Grubs. G2 already with a good rotation now. You just end up with Rahel matching into Han Sama while being down on items because he hasn't got a good reset off and had to start with tiers. So it's been really, really weird.
Might get to prove it a little bit here as Zenithblade taken over. Rika does actually get level 6 now. Labrov is the target. They want something, but Shattering Strike delays the engage onto Skewmon. Shield of Daybreak, a Javelin toss, Fate sealed. Rika doesn't connect. Its flashes burn, but a Zenithblade, a follow-up. SK are getting something from this play, and it will be Labrov in the end who sacrifices his life so Skewmon lives. Oh no! The Javelin toss hits him in the booty.
Caps didn't move. It was actually the full rotation from SK to get into position. Now Han Sama, he's going to fall underneath this tower as well. Broken Blade has no TP to get here.
Ooh.
Neither does Caps.
These would be stacks tonight. This will be a big kill. Han Sama needs to get something in return. He flashes, but under turret, Isma's got his name. 3 kills, Dagda, and all of a sudden that early lead, that early mishap, the lane allocation, all of it out the window because Isma is fed.
Yeah, SK took a real running start at that Void Grubs and we're like, look, we need to make this happen. The objective goes across, but thankfully getting kills back on towards Isma. He's now at 3 kills. You can see here, Caps not in a position to really come across, and Labrov, because he took that big chunk damage, can't really engage. So this is a 4v3 that ends up splitting off into Rahel doing good damage onto Han Sama, and the other 3 members of SK picking off everyone on G2. It's a bit of a disaster for, well, 0-3 for G2. Do not want to go 0-3.
Yeah, it really isn't. You know, that play puts SK in a 1k gold lead. That play puts a 1k gold lead on the Nidalee with the Haunting Guys and Fated Ashes. So let's just forget everything else that happened.
I do think, though, if those kills had actually gone over towards Rika, I would be like, okay, this is blown open for SK.
Yeah, okay.
The Nidalee is still going to be strong, don't get me wrong, but again, you can already see they're struggling to really find avenues to play through the Nidalee. Like, they're not going for invades, they're not finding windows to really shut down Skewmon. So I think Isma needs to start getting creative and working with Loopy to find some of these picks where you can use now all that extra gold that's been on towards Isma. But they're still struggling for levels a little bit. So, and also you can see the gold leads on the solo laners.
Yeah.
So I think, again, it's nice for SK. Not quite out of the woods yet.
Important context. I'll hold on to that here. Is Skewmon is actually on a ward, by the way, or at least that just expired. So knows that Dragon has started here. Control ward in front, going to make sure there's no other vision tagging him as his duration in this Dragon. But look at the minimap. Look at the minimap. SK are channeling down in a conga line all the way to just steal this from their hands. Javelin toss connects, and G2 are angling themselves. You see Broken Blade ready to send out the Keeper's Verdict, get a disengage at 1.5. It's going to be a Dragon Seal for Isma, but he has to get nearby. Teleport bringing in as well, but the Smite already gone down. The Fate Seal, though, connects perfectly. Skewmon in a lot of trouble, but against the wall, Broken Blade denies it being clean. Isma gets a kill once again, but Rika is slapped around by Broken Blade.
SK were a little late on the play, so they had the TP TP advantage on Gen X. They knew Hans Sama was top, which is why the call was to contest, but Reeker doesn't come across quick enough. The engage is desynced, and they actually gave enough time for Hans Sama kind of just walk down to nearly be in position for that fight, so they can't actually go for any sort of follow-up as Gen X TP's down. So it's a 1-for-1. Dragon goes to G2 and the TP, so
yeah.
You'll see it here, right? The TP is a good call, but look where Hans Sama is. He's just waltzed his way down from topside. Now actually a factor in the fight if it breaks off. And Broken Blade's able to flash out of the pit, so they just trade 1-for-1, and G2 respond correctly by just moving out of the pit.
And Captain Caps picked up the kill as well. Blackfire Torch also comes in with that as well. 500 gold lead for him individually. I will say Isma Leandris is picked up, so more gold on this guy, who's now 1,500 over his jungle opponent. SK holding the lead in the early game. They did start with first blood, remember, but they do not have the feats of strength right in their back pocket. In fact, 2 out of 3 of those for the objectives has now been picked up by G2.
Now there could be the potential of going towards a third as the next round of Void Grubs is about to spawn. G2 not really in a position to match this. Reeker has already started roaming. That's why you've seen a lot of those question mark things as to where this Yone is on the map, but SK can push in mid, will rotate over, and I think G2 just going to give it up. Maybe look for a bit of a play on bot side. As you can see, LeBron cheating down towards that side to protect Caps.
Well, it's just given up for Grubs in the meantime, as you said, to protect Caps so they can get in and use some of these Grubs' power. Reeker's just going to take a bit of damage under turret, but at least he's able to step up and clear the wave, thin it out a little bit so that this can't go much further.
Yeah, just looking for plates. Hans Sama in a lot of trouble though. Spear.
He stepped up for that.
Yeah, not going to connect. Seeing if Hans Sama was a bit to dodge backwards, but again, Corki soloing a 1v1. That shred from the Gatling gun makes it so difficult to trade against him. And Rahel using that to full effect. And now you've got SK back on, down onto this bottom side, so G2 won't be able to contest for that low health turret. They're just going to take it back nice and easy.
Just waiting for this next breakout because Dragon's not up for a while, Grub's not up for a while. It is nice when you talk in the early game because sometimes there's no objectives stacked up. It's rare. But imagine having no objectives on the map. I'm telling you, we need another buff. Let's put in a green buff.
Yeah. Atakan's twin brother for, what is it, like 7 minutes of the game?
Yeah. What does he give? A little GA, only a minute this time, as Gen X turret dive is going to kick us off. Skumond is not in yet, the all-out use, and Broken Blade didn't even tag him up until now. Oh! That was delicious.
Well, orchestrated by G2 there. Isma now on this top side. I don't think there's very much you can do.
Degustation menu. Dagda, what do you think? What's the second course coming up here? Keeper's Verdict, it's swinging, and it's a perfect shot. Putt-putt hole in one.
SK are not getting value from these teleports. They keep trying to match G2, but they're already behind the place. G2 get what they want. And then you end up burning some of these summoner spells as well, which means I wouldn't be surprised to see G2 with like a minute and a half when the next dragon spawns. They can overload topside for the turret, immediately have a double TP in towards a fight as well. SK, they're just being run around.
Hans Sama taking a bit of poke damage, and although we keep saying, you know, good things about G2 deflecting some of the plays, this Corki might be going back for Trinity Force. Labrov stopping that back as I talk about it. I'm curious when our observers go towards bot, what that bot turret is looking like right now with the range matchup, especially with Blackfire Torch from Caps as well. Dagda, I mean, very good at poking out this Cassante despite his Iceborne.
Man, he has 1.4k gold lead. Like, this man is huge on the Victor right now. And it's like, it looks more even in the game because Isma has a bunch of that gold lead, but it is not even when you look at Victor damage versus Nidalee damage in a team fight. So I think G2 going to be leaning heavily in towards these team fights over the next, well, 45 seconds. It's just a case of G2's team fights have not been as clean as we have seen over the last year, which makes sense. You've only just added new members into the team. It takes a little bit of time to work together, but they do need to be a little bit clean when they come into these fights because you have a lot of turnaround potential with the likes of Reek or even these spears from Isma if they don't engage at the right moment.
Use the word clean or, you know, lack thereof for G2, Dagda. Yesterday, it was only yesterday, their Atakan throw, 6k gold lead. I want to remind our audience at home that, you know, this is not the G2 that can close out games and, I don't know, clean out opponents.
I think look, they are still getting to grips with the new roster.
They are.
And I think saying they are the worst team in LEC, for example, Mr. Hysterics.
Zenith Blade, it catches up. Actually, Broken Blade might be dead. He flashes away, but he's going to get ranged here. A flash to match the auto, and down he goes with the turret, which leads them into the feats of strength.
Okay, that was a great pick from SK. That's exactly what you want to do. They don't go towards the Dragon knowing that they don't have that TP advantage we talked about in Reekers. Instead, they're just going to look for plays elsewhere. Pick Nerdy clearing out that top tower will come with the next wave, so nicely done by SK. Kind of getting one back here against G2.
I might be a bit silly. I think Feat of Strength actually picked up by G2 Dagda. I saw it on the little overlay there that I believe its bottom outer turret actually fell before mid.
Yeah, so they got first tower and they got 3 grubs plus 2 dragons.
2 dragons, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. At least we got that little overlay there because I was like, wait, mid went down with it. SK big.
But look, this is why I think the overreactions to G2 are they're overreactions. This is still a team that once they come to grips with how the team wants to function, whose role is what in the team, they will bounce back. It's just, hey, you've got 2 new members, a change in how your team operates, learning how, especially Skewman and Labrov to work together.
Yeah.
It changes an entire team dynamic.
And you're exactly right. I mean, even with the old roster last year, what was it, summer, when they started deflating a little bit as well? But then, oh no, they just win more championships. So let's see. I mean, again, you know, because it's got to be clickbait, Dagda. So if they don't win this game, I mean, 0-3 would be the worst start G2 have ever had.
Yeah, I think it's either that or this Victor did was in this game, because Caps is very close to popping off. If you make one mistake, and Labrov is trying to see if he can catch Loopy and Isma as they are a little bit out of position, but just trying to contest on this mid wave. As you do have Rift Herald spawning in just a couple of seconds.
BT picked up by Han Sama, by the way, so he's got a little more flexibility in this fight, or rather, a bit more shielding to help him play aggressive. As Titanic also picked up by Skewmon. And looking on the other side, Isman now has a Seeker's Armor Guard. His ability to pounce and hold has just begun as SK sitting around mid on a ward. Broken Blade wants an angle, and you can see Genax is not willing to give up that bot wave that's crashing in. It's a small window here for G2 to help get that mid push and have another advantage for now.
Yeah, still, Corki can clear out these waves very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So shouldn't be too much of an issue to actually get in position to contest. But G2, I was about to say, need to start this up because they want to get that TP bird from Genex, and at least if they're going to have to fight the 5v5, get something early.
Loopy sets up with a Zenith Blade while G2 are killing Baron's younger sister. For now, G2 ignore it as Broken Blade. Remember, he was here first. Loopy is caught unawares and gives the cash into
that's not the TP. That's not the TP.
It's unstoppable, but not when Steadfast Presence is up and available. Genax has to flash away as well as G2 now play their own version of front to back, and Cabs starts electrocuting Rahel. He gets Fate Seal, he flashes away, and Rika wants to get out of his own way, but Labrov keeps him in place, and Isma has to walk up, now walk away. Huntama's ready to pounce.
Genax got Skewmon though, so it is a 1-for-1 and all said and done. Now the TP coming back from Rahel to force G2 back. Rift Herald was not taken. G2 still have the TP for Caps and Broken Blade. How risky are SK feeling in starting this one up?
Isma low on mana, but he's in the river.
Yeah, they have to give this up. Broken Blade went to bot lane, so he needs to reset, then TP into the fight, and SK, they're just going to be able to take this. So using that extra TP on Rahel, really helping out for SK.
Yeah, it really is. Again, SK, as we look back at this replay, I mean, they started this off bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great pick on towards Loopy, so it was a 1-for-2, but as you TP in here, I thought this was a disaster for Genex, but he just immediately turns on towards Skewmon, so I'm trying to see, yeah, because it looks like there was poke damage from Rahel and Isma immediately that took him low, but now Loopy caught out.
Yeah, he is once again. He burned his flash in the last trade, so this is a free kill for G2, and, you know, Caps is just going to take this in a second. That's the second kill for the victor here. Cap's still ahead.
Yeah, it's a big mistake from Loopy. Look at where Isma is in the map. He's back in his own jungle. No one was in it anywhere to follow up with him. Yeah. And you don't even have a position on the map to try and throw down the Rift Herald and trade for you being overextended there. So Loopy just getting caught for nothing, and now G2 should be able to get this topside turret off the back of us.
Cap's also evolved Chaos Ray. Almost second item. I mentioned it before, but 1,500 gold lead in mid. We started this game by talking about how strong Isma was, and Dagny, you're very right when you talked about the impact that this mid-league could have in this game. Even at the end of the laning phase, even through some of the skirmishes, yes, there's big damage, but if they don't take care of Caps, or, mind you, Hansama's Draven, you can see that, like, this burst damage, those carries can't survive.
You need it to land on a high priority target.
Yeah,
if it hits onto Hansama or Caps at the start of a fight, fantastic. SK are cheering because they may have just won the team fight off of a single spear, but if you don't end up with that, it becomes very difficult to try and sneak one past Broken Blade or even an ulted Skewmont or even a potential engage from Lavrov. So this is where SK need to try and play this a little slow, wait for Isma in the hopes he can land one of those Miracle Spears.
They've summoned the Rift Herald, by the way, as well, just to add a bit of priority in that bot side. Teleport being used by Caps just to get a bit closer, set up for this fight. Loopy again is the first target. He's the front line, but Broken Blade gets knocked back. Rika, though, a two-man is perfect, but Caps walks it out. Genax all out, but now he's squishy, and he's without the rest of SK. He sacrifices his life, but gives a shutdown, or rather a catch in, and a dragon. I thought SK were going to finish it, Dagda, but Isma walked it away, and SK just didn't want to stay.
It was a great ultimate from Rika. Now going to see if he can get on towards Broken Blade, but he's just too tanky. And the problem was, Rika, the ultimate was class. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But Loopy missed the Solar Flare in the follow-up, which meant that they couldn't really stay in the fight to finish off those low-health members. So G2 ended up taking the fight, and now getting so much more.
Flash shove against the wall. Caps with a storm for Rika. A double kill over to the mid lane legend. And let me tell you one thing, if Caps is fed, you can smile as a G2 fan.
But look at it here. So the engage from Rika comes through, and it's great. Loopy, weird position on this top side, and then Rika managed to catch Skewmon and Caps, which is perfect, but Solar Flare goes wide. It's misplayed, like they don't time it with each other. And then Genax has already gone into the back line, but there's no one actually CC for him to try and take care of. And Rahel hasn't really been able to get in a position to carry the fights. They try and do something here onto Broken Blade, but it ends up only costing them more on the back end.
But that burst, I mean, every single fight now, well, last couple I should say, you know, Caps' damage is huge. Unsustainable to stay in long periods of time, let me tell you. Hun Summer now with an Infinity Edge. And we talked about the lower points of Draven, but Dagda, we can talk about Rahel's ability to get in the fight. When Rika jumps in as well, when he has to commit his all-in dive, if it doesn't connect, if Hun Summer's able to free move, Cap's able to free move, damage from G2, it's just over in a blink.
But that was what Rika had to do in that fight. Like, that was really well played by the SK mid laner. It's just unfortunate that the follow-up wasn't quite there. So G2 kind of got away with it, in a sense. Now with 3 dragons, G2 set up, looking for that Baron control. Broken Blade again on that bottom side. They can just continue to play out the wave states and wait for potential mountain soul for themselves.
Loopy again is the engaged. Solar Flare missed again, Dagda. He flashes away, but where's he gonna go? Skewmon takes his kill credit. Over the wall, LeBron gets the Magnet Storm while Genax is slowed down, stunned up. Rika, he gets his ulti again. It's on the Cabs, but no one else there. A storm of chaos peruses like a bookshelf from hell. Rahel runs back. The turret is friend, but G2 with 5 yet again.
That was looking like a Thor scene. You get slammed into the wall, next thing there's a giant hammer, and a lightning storm gets called down your head. Rika did not have a good time with that one. And now G2 immediately over towards Atakan. Perfect timing as well. 2:30 until that Baron. They're immediately going to be able to use this to either pick up that objective or just start looking for inhibitor turrets.
It's peaceful on Summoner's Rift. That's because
it got real quiet.
The curse of Atakan has been lifted. This guy, thing, not great.
No, crowd, well, supposed to be quiet. Quiet.
Shh. The library. Wow, a Dagda, by the way, voracious Atakan, by the way. What?
Wait, is it actually?
Yeah, the same one we get every game. No, not Ruinous. Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, wait, we got rooted. I was like, these kills and damage don't match up. I was like, what?
No, it's the
GA. I should have known. I should have known. Look. Words are hard, okay? You got to use it earlier, I'm going to use it now.
They are hard.
They're terrible. English is a terrible language. That's why we should all learn Irish.
Oh, we should. No. What?
Yeah.
No, sorry, I was going to say the one word I know. I'm like, is that appropriate?
I don't know what word you know.
You taught me it.
I don't know.
What does that one mean?
That means thank you.
Yeah, it was not that one, Dagda. Take your pick. Anyway, he won't admit it on broadcast, but Dagda is a little bit spicy, and I will say that as G2, they've been spicy in this game thanks to the fact that their mid and 80 carry are fed. Pushing up sides, Caps is now just using Broken Blade with an ulti.
Oh my god, that
Rika! Holy. Well, flash away. Rika, see you later. Oh, LeBron is dead.
He's fine. He's just going to go
withdrawing
straight back to base.
What do you think happens when you withdraw?
You go back to base.
Yeah.
I think literally you can see it on screen.
Not
Hansa's going to need to.
No, but I mean, like, you know, like in life, Rika is about to die if he stays there. Good thing he dodged away.
They do lose the tier 2 mid, though. I just would like to point out. So, CJ, that's where you go. But the tower doesn't have false life, so it's not going to go back to base.
No. So what happens to the turret when it dies?
I don't think it has a soul, but I don't know if we're going that deep into
it. That? How do you know? Are you telling me
it wasn't in the patch notes, so that's all I have to go off of.
Small text, buildings have souls. Cap still with a GA, yeah, he can do this. He doesn't care. Broken Blade can also do this. He cares not. I mean, G2 all of a sudden, just because they've got Atakan, they're in control, and they're going to teleport in, Dagda.
Hell has TP as well, though, so he's actually going to join in.
This is the target again, Loopy at half
That's
HP.
Very far forward for Corki.
It is right in the middle of everything, and it creates a magnet storm, chaos storm. SK are unborn. A double over to Caps as it holds the rift. Hot stand, that's some electricity as Rika gives over the first penta kill of LEC 2025.
Feel Caps' storm scorn on the bottom lane as G2 will pick up a magnificent pentakill for the man himself in the mid lane.
10-0 and 4. All of a sudden we celebrate him more. Man, this guy's good. 5.5K in G2. Sick of being 0-2, Dagda, I think we can say.
SK feeling the brunt and the weight of G2 Fury as they move over, not only off of a Mountain Soul, but now to pick up a Baron buff for themselves as well. It was already an uphill battle. Now it's just an avalanche that's taking SK with them, and this TP was way too far forward. You can already see massive amount of pings from Caps immediately onto that area. The CC, the storm is immediately getting wider thanks to the extra kills, and it takes up the entire lane. Rika knows he's done for, does what he can. But there was just nothing you could do.
There's Cho'Gath with like 10k stacks or something, taking up the whole of Summoner's Rift. Yeah, Victor picking up all 5, and as we said, first Penta Dagda. It's only week 1. Nice to see.
G2, the question is now, are they back? I mean, fantastic stuff, but it is just one game. I think, again, this is kind of what we expected. Eventually, G2, we're just going to find their rhythm, and hopefully this is the start of seeing them return towards that top of the standings. But week 1 is nothing to really start to worry about as G2 now start to move in towards that top side tower. Broken Blade going to continue his push in mid, and SK kind of scratching their heads as to how they're supposed to stop it.
They really can't. Labrov zoning's big. SK are a 5-man group now looking for an angle to find a pick, but they'll get nothing of the sort. G2 with an inner turret top, that's now down. Broken Blade is using Baron to push in mid, and he's drawn the attention of 2 people. That opens up windows here. G2 getting engaged on. Rika thinks better of it. The next wave start crashing in.
There's very little they can do. You can see SK running back towards their Nexus turrets, but I don't think they're really going to keep themselves either. Skimon just poking with the wind becomes lightning, threatening and engage. But G2, they got what they came for, and mid lane's next in the cards.
Caps get a double penta. That's what we wait for. I mean, this Victor's capable of it. As SK look, they're going to get slowed down, and here he comes again. Loopy flashes away, doesn't want to get gravity field. Magnet Storm is beautiful. Let's just do it again, Dagda. But this time it's hard to get the double kill, but hell, you still see that Chaos Storm owning the rift. Genax moves to the fountain, but G2 in 28 minutes. Say enough is enough. Ending week 1 with a win. We see this roster pull it all together to end out their debut.
Turns out if you give Caps the most broken mid laner on the patch, he's going to do absolute wonders with it. G2 pick up the